Well, good evening everybody and welcome to a sunny New Road for this latest game in the Worcestershire Rapids home campaign in this season's T20 Blast. Not been a good experience for the Rapids in the last couple of matches, back-to-back defeats, including a very heavy one at Wantage Road last night. So it's all about trying to have a bit of a reset and a fresh approach to tonight's game. Rapids at the moment, the table doesn't look good at the bottom of the North Group, just 2 points from their 7 games so far. Tonight's visitors are the Derbyshire Falcons, who are pretty much sitting in mid-table at the moment, 6 points from their 7 games, so they certainly have aspirations of challenging for a top 4 spot. 3 wins from their 7 games so far for the Falcons. As far as the Rapids go, well, the equation is a pretty stark one, really. Literally every game from here on in has to be won, you'd think, for them to stand any chance of having a shout of making the top 4. And certainly the form after the last couple of games needs to be a turnaround from last night in particular as well. But it's a new game, new day, and hopefully a different result. Alongside me, Dan Wheeler, in the commentary position, we've got the former Worcestershire captain, Joe Leach. We'll hear from Joe in just a second, but we'll get the news from the toss and the team news first with Sally Bentley-Reid.
Thanks, Dan. Well, Worcestershire Rapids have made 2 changes for this evening's game. Newly signed Kashif Ali comes in for Jack Spanton, and Charlie Morris replaces Dylan Pennington for this evening. So the team is Jake Libby, Brett D'Oliveira, Moeen Ali, Colin Munro, Jack Haynes, Ben Cox, Ed Barnard, Dwayne Bravo, Kashif Ali, Pat Brown and Charlie Morris, while the Derbyshire Falcons are unchanged from their victory last night. Shan Massoud, Lewis Rees, Lewis Deploy, Wayne Madsen, Alex Hughes, Brooke Guest, Matty McKiernan, Hayden Kerr, Mark Watt, Sam Connors and the former Worcestershire player George Scrimshaw.
Thanks, Al. I'm delighted to say we're joined tonight by Joe Leach. Great to see you, Joe.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. First of all, how's the injury? Back to action soon, aren't you, for the Twos?
Yeah, much improved, thankfully, from a couple of weeks ago. Had a net earlier today, bowled, kind of full intensity, which was nice. Had touchwood, no feedback from that. So second team cricket next week, I think.
Great to hear, and hopefully we'll see you back in the first team very shortly. Some thoughts on tonight's game in particular, Joe, after what happened last night. It's got to be a bit of a mental reset tonight more than anything else.
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, it's been a tough campaign. I think that's pretty obvious. It goes without saying, but the guys are in good spirits, actually. Considering what was, a tough night last night, obviously, and fingers crossed they can put one on Derby tonight. And I think that obviously works across multiple formats for the group. We've got a 4-day game on Sunday that we're very much in the hunt at the top end of the table in that. So we'll be wanting to put in a performance not only for kind of progression in this format, but also continuity into Sunday.
Thanks very much, Joe. More from Joe as we go through this evening's game. Moeen Ali is going to open the bowling, the Rapids captain from the New Road end. Power play in the first 6 overs, of course. The boundary riders out at mid-wicket and at long off. We are almost ready to go here in the lovely evening sunshine here at New Road. Umpires just checking everything is okay. Away we go. So the boys are in sort of comparing obviously what happened last night, a bruising defeat, Joe, but you said they're feeling quite pucker considering everything?
Yeah, I think pucker might be a stretch, but obviously I think what Moeen said in the media last night, I think that was kind of fed back into the change room as well, and sometimes that's what you need, a bit of a cleansing chat. And yeah, it's been actually reasonably pleasing to see the way the guys are today. They're very determined to bounce back, that's for sure.
Get Joe's thoughts on Kashif Ali, who's come into the side tonight, one of 2 changes made by the Rapids. It's a decent start though from Moeen. So a quick word on Kashif, Joe, how well do you know him? He's obviously 24 years old. I think he's his first taste of big-time cricket with the county this year.
Yeah, not overly. In all honesty, the first time I've met him is this afternoon. I've obviously heard a lot about him from the coaching staff. I know Kadir and Kevin Sharp speak very highly of him. The guys who've played with him in the second team speak very highly of him as well. So, I think he might be
almost carrying to Dwayne Bravo.
Yeah, sorry. I think he's going to be a slightly different player to what we've had on the staff, obviously. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him play and wish him all the best.
Last ball of the opening over, landed just in front of Dwayne Bravo. A single to finish. So 3 runs coming off that opening over from Moeen Ali. Decent, tight start. Derbyshire come into the game fresh from a handsome win against Worcestershire last night. They're going quite well in the competition. Shan Masood, who's been in brilliant form in red ball cricket for them, in the runs last night as well. I mean, his form has been incredible, hasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it really has. He looked in very good touch at Derby a couple of weeks ago in the red ball game that we were there for, and yeah, he scored runs pretty much every game this season. So hopefully, this could be a failure.
Charlie Morris taking the second over this evening, with Dylan Pennington not in the team tonight. Flicked away, will run away for 4. Morris played 4 matches so far in the competition. 4 wickets to his name. Are we expecting them to make some changes for this evening, Joe?
I think it's probably inevitable, given what's happened the last couple of weeks. It's just the nature of the beast when it comes to professional sport, unfortunately, for the guys who aren't playing.
Fine delivery by Charlie Morris, big appeal. It wasn't just by him. Ben Cox, Jack Haynes, D'Oliveira joining in as well. Seemed fairly convinced by that one. Must be a prized wicket for Shan Masood first up. Down the leg side on this occasion. Charlie Morris did take 17 wickets in the competition last season, the most for the Rapids, but was also unfortunately the most expensive at 9.5. And over. Away for a single. Pat Brown does the fielding. 2 men out in the deep for the first 6 overs. What do you think the talk in the dressing room might have been ahead of this game after last night?
No, I think really stripping it back down to basics. Obviously, when someone comes off like Lynn did last night, things can happen very, very quickly in this format. I know that's quite an obvious thing to say, and as quick as it feels like it's going when you're watching it, when you're involved in it, it feels like it's happening even quicker. So, stripping it right back. I know Dwayne spoke to the bowlers last night about, let's keep it as simple as we possibly can. And I'm sure that's obviously the plan tonight. And hopefully, if they execute those basics, that does have a massive bearing on results. And unfortunately, that's probably something that we've not done the last couple of weeks as well as we would have liked.
inventive on this one. One bounce for 4. I think just inside the rope. Yeah. 4 on that occasion to Rees. Making second boundary from Charlie Morris is over. 12 from it so far. Need to keep it tight for the last ball. That one hit away hard though. 4 more for Rees. 16 from Charlie Morris's first over. And not quite the start he would have wanted.
These opening overs are tough, aren't they, Joe? It's difficult for bowlers with it disappearing to all parts. Only 2 fielders allowed in the deeper course for the first 6 overs. And Masood and Rees already looking in good touch here.
Yeah, very much so. You know, it's a pretty thankless task actually, and especially, you know, if you're not taking wickets and you're not getting guys out, it's obviously very difficult to contain the runs. I think keeping calm, keeping a nice level head, you know, wicket here, you know, it does really change the complexion of a power play quite quickly. I think, you know, you've got to commit to trying to get guys out, because you know, unlike maybe even 2 or 3 years ago, you just can't defend these power batters now. You have to get them out to keep the stem of runs down.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking earlier about how the game has moved on. It develops every year, it seems, but in particular over the last 3 or 4 years. Should be the first wicket, and is! Well taken by Charlie Morris. That was up in the air for quite a while, but he came round and pouched it safely. Moeen strikes. The Rapids take their first wicket, and Lewis Rees has gone for 11.
Yeah, bang on cue. I think that just stuck for Charlie there, thankfully.
It's one of those awful ones, isn't it? Because it was in the air a long time. You think that's a simple catch, and then you've got time to think about...
There's no such thing as a simple catch. I've made that. I've made many a simple catch look difficult over the years.
But he held it, that's the main thing. And the Rapids have taken their first wicket. Hayden Kerr has been promoted, the Australian all-rounder from New South Wales. Signed in as a replacement for Sri Lanka's Suranga Lakmal, who missing the rest of the summer with an elbow injury. So Vicky Arthur was keen to bring in someone ASAP. He's had a good tournament at home in Australia, getting to the BBL final with the Sydney Sixers. He was voted their best player of the tournament as well, and that's a cracking first delivery to him from Moeen Ali, beating him on the outside edge. Promotion for Kerr up to 3 to try and keep this early momentum going. Going along at 8s at the moment. Yeah, just to finish that point about the evolution of the game, Joe, you were saying that now it's very much about power and hitting at the top of the order. In particular, we saw that in bucket loads from Lynn yesterday. And as a former captain, of course, I bet you must have felt for Moeen, and we've all been in that situation with the ball disappearing to all parts.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's so challenging to stop these guys now when they get going. You know, as the game's developed, you kind of in its evolution. You know, you had a period of time where you could get away with bowling down the wide line. You had a period of time where slower balls worked. A period of time where the Yorker was, you know, if you just missed your Yorker, you probably got away with it. Whereas now, you know,
go for 6 over cover.
Yeah, exactly. You've got no. I mean, some of the shots that Lynn was playing last night, I obviously wasn't there live, but watching it on the stream, you know, the amount of sixes that are going over the offside now that's probably the biggest evolution as well. You know, back even 3 or 4 years ago, you could kind of shut down the offside and know that worst case scenario you're going to get hit for 4 if you didn't quite execute. Whereas now, it disappears over these boundaries just so easily. You know, and kind of to my earlier point, you have to get guys like that out now. You can't just bowl well at them and expect them to tick over at 8 and over. It just doesn't work.
5 runs coming off that over, 24 for 1 after 3.
Pat Brown into the attack for the Rapids. Fine start to his first over. No wickets for him last night. None for 45 from his 4. Although I think the only person to come out of last night's game unscathed was Dwayne Bravo, really. His fantastic figures in the context of the game. Yeah,
he showed his stature as a world-class bowler in this format. He was exceptional, but what was striking was kind of how simple he kept it, really. Even though Lynn and etc. were going great guns, he looked to keep it very simple. He executed kind of 2 or 3 balls really well, and it's probably a really good lesson for us as a side in our kind of evolution. You know, watching someone like him with all his experience at the IPL and World 2020 champion, to see the way he went about it was probably a really good lesson for, you know, bowlers young and old, I guess.
You took a few pointers as well, did you?
Absolutely, yeah.
But no, like you were saying as well, keeping, you know, going back to the basics, perhaps, especially when you've had a game like that and it really hasn't gone your way.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, definitely. The way the format kind of works, you can feel like you're the worst or the best cricketer very quickly, and it happens, you know, night to night. I wouldn't be surprised if we do something similar tonight. You know, that's the way the format works. I think having the ability to stay very level as you go for this tournament is something that was very striking in 2018 and 19, was the way the group managed to kind of negotiate the tricky periods and stay nice and level, not get too down and not lose confidence when things weren't going well.
Definitely. This one hit hard by Masood though, away for 4 more. And been a tighter 3 balls from Pat Brown, but the boundary coming off that one. Masood in good touch following his 73 last night. No, 73 against the Foxes last night. Oh. 2 more balls for Pat Brown. This one, fuller delivery. Dwayne Bravo, very excited by that. Delivery encouraging Pat Brown, but
there's a bit of a noise, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Maybe that was bat on ground.
Bat on ground, I think.
There's a gentleman
It's a bit
in midway up the Basil D'Oliveira stand certainly thought it was out. It's just the loudest appeal.
Can't hear the noise as well from up here on the balcony, but I don't think it was nick off the bat, unfortunately. Picks out Brett D'Oliveira to finish the over. 30 for 1 of the first 4 then, the Derbyshire Falcons. 6 coming from Pat Brown's first over, the boundary and 2 singles. So a decent enough start for Pat Brown.
Yeah, great start. I think obviously the way Moen started as well, if we could just sneak a wicket or 2 in these next 2 overs, it's certainly our power play.
Is it very much broken down into sort of chunks of play in the dressing room beforehand, or certainly the power play? Obviously?
Yeah, the power play is, you know, it's a unique kind of skill set really, to try and get yourself through it as best you can compared to. There we go.
Second wicket taken. And Moeen has done it again. And the experiment of promoting Kerr up to 3 hasn't worked. And Kashif Ali has his first involvement in the game, catching Moeen Ali, delivery from him at cover. So that'll feel good. Joe getting involved in the game early on.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I wish I could call my wickets like this. I'd be on 1500 by now. That was, yeah, very good for Kashif to just get himself in the game. You know, it's probably fielding's the most nerve-wracking bit about these experiences when you start. So for him to get a catch early will give him a lot of confidence.
Wayne Madston, vastly experienced player, of course, in next. His 130th T20 game for Derbyshire tonight. Over 3,000 runs, 20 half centuries, almost 400 runs against the Rapids as well in his T20 career. And he's in at 30 for 2. Moeen, the successful bowler twice. He's got a slip in now, which you don't often see in the power plays. Ben Cox will tear after this. And, make sure it is only 1.
He likes to score runs against the Rapids, doesn't he, Wayne Madston?
He does. I've definitely fed him a few over the years.
Average is 44, Joe.
Yeah. He's in the winter we have we run through every team we're going to play. And kind of our plans to them, and we do a bit of homework, I guess, on each side. I think Wayne Madston we've spent the most time on over the past few
I was going to say, is there one player, who's the one player that leads to the most kind of groans?
Well, he's certainly had his time, that is for sure. Had some wild and wacky ideas in a cold February morning in one of these new road boxes.
Sam Hain might be another one, mightn't he? He always seems to do well against Worcestershire. White ball cricket.
It's well against everyone, I think, Sam.
This is good, 2 wickets. Can't beat wickets just to apply the brakes. 33 for 2. 2 balls to go. Terrific over from Moeen. Just a single to end it. Great stuff from the Rapids captain with a wicket as well. Just the 4 runs coming from it and the wicket. Terrific stuff with 1 over left in the power play. 34 for 2, and they'll would have taken that at the start, wouldn't you, Joe?
Absolutely. This is so far so good. This is probably as good as you can hope for in this day and age. I think wicket looks pretty true, to be honest, from what we've seen, given the way that Masood played some of his shots to the ball with pace on it, and it's a difficult ground to defend nowadays. Quick outfield, big pockets. It's hard to defend here. So, yeah, great start.
2 for 12 from his 3 overs from Moeen.
Charlie Morris back on. Hit away for 4, first ball.
That's, I think, like speaking about keeping things simple, you have to be philosophical there as a bowler. It's very difficult to do, but from where I'm sat, he's not done masses wrong, and that's a great cricket shot from obviously a guy who's in very good touch. You can end up chasing your tail here and trying to do something. You've just got to, if you can repeat that ball, and if he gets hit from that, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up.
Is that the danger then, that you hit for 4 first ball, you panic and you try and change it up, like you say, rather than sticking to some of those basics and thinking, well, I did bowl a decent ball?
Absolutely, and it's also the kind of thing you do when things haven't been going that well. You go away from your strengths, trying to find an answer that probably doesn't need to be found. Sometimes in this format, you will be got as a bowler, and you just have to accept that.
Bit of tweak in the field for that last delivery. Third man has come up to the edge of the circle, and another one's been pushed back on the leg side. So there's now a deep square leg and a deep mid wicket. But the last, I mean, you know what's coming, don't you, I suppose, Joe? Last over the power play.
Yeah, you do.
Just going to launch everything, or at least attempt to.
Crashed away by Masood. Beautifully through the offside. Say when someone's in the touch that he's in, sometimes you are going to get hit for those boundaries. I suppose that's the positioning as well of having Dwayne Bravo and Moeen Ali at mid-off, mid-on to, chat with the bowler.
A lot of experience there. They've won IPLs together at CSK, so they would have seen all this before.
Fuller delivery that time from Charlie Morris. Still pinch the single. Do you like that as a bowler, or sometimes do you think just let me get on with it? Or does it just depend on the situation?
It really depends on the situation. I don't think experience around you can ever do any harm, really. Certainly guys who like to be left to their own devices, but with the amount of 2020 cricket those guys have played, they can only really help.
Obviously Charlie Morris hasn't played a vast amount of T20 cricket, has he, in his career?
No, and sometimes it's just walking over from mid-off or mid-on and reiterating that you've not done that much wrong.
So 2 singles and a dot ball to end Charlie Morris's second over. End of the power play, 46 for 2.
12 runs coming off that over from Charlie Morris. 2 overs, none for 28 now for him. And we are going to see Dwayne Bravo come into the attack for the first time this evening after his extraordinary effort last night. In the context of the pain suffered by the rest of the Rapids bowlers, his figures were quite exceptional. So he's charged with the first over with the field spread. So we've got boundary riders out at deep point and cover and long on, and also mid wicket and square leg. Space to push it around. They come back for 2. Throw comes in from D'Oliveira. Oh, a million miles away. If that had hit, I think he was in though, Joe, wasn't he?
Yeah, probably just about in. But again, that's probably just talking about pockets here. It just shows you how hard it is to defend. Just a shot like that to get 2, coupled with the boundary hitting. You can see how it's difficult to keep the rate in check at all.
Seen this quite a lot as well. Moeen and Bravo talking. Did it a lot last night. Well, there's plenty to talk about, I guess, in one respect, how they try and throttle back Northamptonshire. But there's plenty of dialogue between those two. What I was really impressed with last night, I don't know whether you noticed it, Joe, when you were watching, but when it was disappearing to all parts and the momentum was so obviously with the Steelbacks, there was a period where, I can't remember which spell it was, whether it was his second spell, but he just slowed the game down as much as you can in T20 because everything's on the clock, of course, but he just seemed to take that little bit extra half second, made the batsman wait a little bit longer, had a couple of chats, and it did do the trick. I mean, it definitely took the sting, some of the sting out of Northamptonshire, and that was a period where they actually managed to control the rate relative to what else had been happening. But I just thought that was kind of really clever management from Bravo, which again I guess is what you get with someone with his experience and CV. That's a pretty impressive slap though into the gap. by Shan Masood. So 4 more to him. And the 50 is up for the Falcons. Halfway through the 7th over. Going along just over 8 runs and over. I mentioned his knock last night. 73 off 52 for Shan Masood, leading Falcons scorer. Unsurprisingly, given how well he's played in red ball cricket. What's he got? Over 800 runs in the county championship so far. Has he got any bat on that at all? Wait for the signal. Is it going to be a leg by? Yeah, he could sense the knee was coming up there. That's what he does, isn't it, Bravo? Because his pace up well. He bowls a slightly quicker ball. There was one ball he bowled last night that was pretty similar to a curve ball in baseball. You could actually see it dip, sort of looping in. It was right at the base of the stumps.
Yeah, he's, as you say, he's, you know, got 2 or 3 balls, but he executes them exceptionally well. You know, he's got that ball there, the Yorker, which he rarely misses, and then the two slower balls. You know, that one that dips is one that, to be honest, I've studied on YouTube a lot. In his days as I think he played for Melbourne Renegades and I think a few of us spent ages trying to figure out how he did it. I still haven't. I've asked him, but
right,
he's given me a smile and a wink.
So I wondered originally if it was my eyes. I thought that definitely dipped and
it's almost like a splitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
a useful one to have. Slower ball again. But yeah, he's just nailed that Yorker. He nailed it last night repeatedly. You know, Lynn couldn't get him away when he was well set. It's a decent over from him to start off with as well. It's, what's that, 10 runs coming off that first over. Seven gone. Masood 34 off 25.
He also mixed up his line, didn't he, and came then round the wicket.
Went round the wicket.
On a real angle, didn't he?
It's actually, you know, a lot harder than it looks to do that. Though, to execute a Yorker from, like, he was bowling round the wicket to the kind of the wide line to a right-hander. You know, the difference in length there to execute that's very special.
Call of 2. I'll only take 1. Something Worcestershire did well against Birmingham Bears last week was restricted a lot of those 2s, kept them to 1.
I think actually I haven't spoke to him about it today, but just listening to Mo's interview yesterday, I think that's probably what he was most disappointed with yesterday, the fielding. As much as, you know, we could have bowled and batted better, obviously, I think something we pride ourselves on is that fielding.
Madsen picks the gap between the 2 fielders on that occasion, though, for 4. Yeah, it didn't look like a characteristic Rapids performance in the field with a number of errors sort of creeping in.
Yeah, for sure. You know, hopefully something that can improve on today, and probably have done so far.
Wayne Madsen goes for the repeat shot, but didn't quite time it that time. Just a single. Yeah, they looked excellent here last week in that first home match, and a couple of fantastic catches. A couple of skiers in that game. And Pat Brown and Jack Haynes and D'Oliveira and Baker all catching well. And you say something, you know, the team have prided themselves on, even as a, you know, watcher of the game.
Yeah, and you know, it's unique. Each ground has its own characteristics. You know, the angles here are unique compared to some of the other grounds. So being able to save the 2s, you know, if they are 50-50, is something that does have a massive impact on the game, because, as you say, like we saw that sweep with Manson. You know, if you get it in the gap, it's very hard to stop the boundaries.
That one Won't be cut off from 4 to end D'Oliveira's first over. And I think on the other hand, Worcestershire run well, don't they, between the wickets? So they'll often pinch those twos, depending on who's in the field. 11 from Brett D'Oliveira's first over.
So 8 gone then, 12 remain. Falcons going along at just under 8.5 runs and over. 67 for 2. This partnership is starting to become a bit of a nuisance for the Rapids. Here's Ed Barnard placing Dwayne Bravo from the New Road end. Starts with a single off his legs, Masood. Yeah, you mentioned the fielding. I mean, with a bit of a night like last night, Joe, when the momentum is all against you as a fielding side, I mean, that's what pressure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And in this format, you know, streaks of play are quite common, you know.
Oh, it's very well held. Good cricket from the Rapids there. Ed Barnard tucking up Wayne Madsen, and Ben Cox taking a good catch standing up. Come to expect Cox to make the tricky look regulation, and he did again there. Little tickle through to Ben Cox, and the Rapids have struck again. 68 for 3. Madsen's gone for 16. Lewis Deploy is the new man. I mean, I guess Masood's the one they want, Joe, but they'll take anybody at the moment.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, Wayne Madsen, historically we've had real trouble bowling spin at him. The way he manages to manipulate the field makes it very difficult to bowl spin at him in the middle, which kind of affects the way the rest of the innings is put together. I'm thinking of when I've captained against him. So to get Wayne out, I know obviously we'd like Masood as well, but to get Madsen out there does kind of free up options for Mo in terms of keeping Brett on, maybe rather than having to potentially go to a seamer sooner than he would have liked. So yeah, that's a big wicket.
Deploy is the new man. T20 number 43 for him for the Falcons. 9 half centuries, a best of 92. Barnard's on his way. Decent start. Right up in the block hole. Oh, more invention, and should be 4, and it is. Fielders converging on it, but Charlie Morris not able to get across, and Deploy picks up his first boundary. 72 for 3. I remember one time, Joe, you were almost surprised to see a shot like that, but now it's kind of, if you don't see one, it's a bit strange.
Yeah, and the skill level to do that kind of second ball, and the bravery to do it, that's the biggest change.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that off extreme pace like we see often in this form of the game. You ever got it wrong in the nets?
I wouldn't bother trying to do that.
Wise man.
Yeah, that's outside of my remit as a lower order biffer, I think.
I think bare minimum you need an ice hockey netminder's mask, wouldn't you?
The works. I feel sorry for Cox. He stood there with
just a normal lid on.
Yeah.
73 for 3. Last ball coming up. I'll pick up a single down to long on. Haynes with the fielding. End of the over. 74 for 3. So 7 runs coming from that over. I've lost my pen and realised it's stuck behind my ear.
You're doing quotes later.
Yeah. Yeah, week next Thursday I can do that, yeah. So nearly at the halfway stage, 74 for 3.
Moeen Ali's brought himself back on for his final over. Two for 12 so far. One hit out over the top. One bounce 4 over the covers. Masood picking up where he left off last night, it seems, for Derbyshire. Flicked away on the leg side this time. Masood up to 42, 43. 43 from 32. What's the thoughts, Joe, when the first ball goes for the boundary?
Yeah, you're battling a bit.
Feel the extra pressure?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, you kind of trying to keep. Historically, we've spoken about trying to keep overs under 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if one goes for 4, you know, your catastrophic overs they are. If you can keep those, you know, in and around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously heavy pressure if you get hit first ball, but sides do target the first and last balls. I think you've seen that with these guys so far tonight. They've certainly targeted the first and last balls of the over to try and get boundaries.
Pat Brown can't cut that one off. Full toss from Moeen Ali. I think it's obviously that saying, isn't it? Obviously, like you were talking about, that you're getting in and out of the over, so if the batsmen then are targeting you on that first and last delivery, that's just the added pressure of you knowing in your mind you want to get, say, in and out as best you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Masood on 49. Thinks about a run. Moeen Ali finishes his spell. 2 for 24 from his 4 overs this evening. And fine evening's bowling.
Yeah, a good set of 4. I'm looking at the way the first 10 overs have gone. This looks a good wicket to me. You know, probably honours about even at the moment. I don't see that. You know, 8.6 is necessarily over par from you know, just the shots that they managed to play with pace on and off the ball, and the outfield's lightning fast. So yeah, fingers crossed. You know, if we can get a couple of wickets in this next little block going into the death period of the innings, then hopefully we can keep them kind of below par.
Pat Brown 1 over only so far. That was a good one for 6. In he comes. Change of angle round the wicket to the left-hander. And he's tickled down by Deploy. So Masood 1 away from another half century. A nice way for him to mark his 101st. He played his 100th match yesterday with a half century, and he's 1 away from backing that up again tonight. There it is. Off 36 balls. 7 boundaries in that knock for the Pakistan batter, and what a summer he's having in all forms of the game for Derbyshire. And he'll be looking to try and stay there to the end. Good work from Brown, making sure they don't pinch a single. I mean, it's so good to see Pat back, first and foremost, Joe, isn't it? I mean, he's had the nightmare injury problems, didn't play at all in white ball cricket last summer, and he's kind of now starting to sort of get back into things, isn't he, and find his rhythm and showing flashes of the bowler that we remember from 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I think what's been quite telling actually with Pat, is the airspeed that he's managed to get on his balls at a full pace. I think that a feature of his bowling in 18 and 19 was obviously his slow ball stuff, but made more effective by the fact that when he wants to put pace on it, it's quick.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of, to the naked eye anyway, kind of, and actually in the nets, that yard of pace that really, does hurry you, does make the rest of his skills much more effective, and that's been really encouraging to see. And yeah, as you say, I think starting to see him back somewhere towards where he would like to be.
And of course, remember what he did in 2018, 48 wickets in those two campaigns, 18 and 19. I'd love to say then back-to-back wins as well.
So close.
So close to history. Still no one's done it, have they? No one's done it.
No, and you can see why, given
totally,
the way this format plays itself out.
There's that shorter ball, not timed by Deploy. Just the one run. I mean, it's that, like you were saying, Joe, that change of pace, but he's always had that quick bumper, hasn't he? Just to keep you interested.
He's naturally, ever since I can remember him kind of coming onto the academy, and he's always had natural pace. And probably a couple of injuries and stuff, and just rhythm and getting back, to full fitness has meant that he probably hasn't quite had that to the same extent. I think you can see him really running in again, and it's really nice to see. Actually, it's nice to see. He bowls a quick ball when he wants to, Pat. As quick as we've probably got around in the squad, which, as I say, really helps the rest of the stuff. It makes it a lot easier.
Presumably he's enjoying his cricket that bit more, with him potentially feeling like he's getting back to where he was sort of 5-6 years ago. Yeah,
he sets himself very high standards. We've seen him. You don't play for England without having done that. Had quite an astronomical rise. So it's been hard watching what he's had to go through the last couple of years. I think it'll stand him in good stead. He's someone who constantly wants to get better, and he's got a really good mindset. So hopefully, those troubles are behind him now, and as you say, he goes from strength to strength. And first and foremost, we see him back to, what his performances in 18 and 19, and then if not getting better. I think when he went away to England, he learnt a lot about that next step up. I think he probably realised he needed a Yorker. Probably the only one of the few things that I noticed yesterday was, I think when he wanted to hit his Yorker yesterday, he did that reasonably well, considering the carnage that was going on. So yeah, fingers crossed. Small building blocks, but he keeps getting there and improving.
Yeah, it is good to see him back doing well.
I mean, sadly as well, Joe, you would know, unfortunately, about having to deal with serious injury that stays around in the background. It sounds great that your back troubles are now a thing of the past, and obviously what Pat has been through. As somebody who's been on that similar experience, is it always slightly in the back of your mind at all when you feel something go in a similar area?
I don't think it's so much that. I think it just takes time to bowl enough balls to get to where you need to be.
I guess it's about having confidence back in your body, does it?
Yeah, I mean, speaking from I can't speak for Pat's experience, but from my own experience, it felt effort and everything felt the same. I think probably just not quite had the rhythm that I had pre-stress fracture for a little while, and that literally has just come through bowling, and there's no kind of handbrake on or anything like that. It's just one of those things, and it's something that if you speak to people who've had stress fractures, I think it's reasonably commonplace. And then to get them kind of back to back, I don't know exactly what Pat's had, but to get him kind of back to back and have that injury, it just means he hasn't bowled enough to really find rhythm, that had enough balls in him to get the load up to where he needs to, I guess. And when you're in environments like this, it's very telling.
Fine over from Bravo so far, 4 singles. Followed up with a dot ball. 12th over. I don't know, I didn't hear the full conversation, but Darren Goff was doing commentary on the test match earlier this morning, and he believed, I think was what he said, that bowlers should be bowling for 11 months of the year, partly to do with the rhythm, in terms of keeping the body going rather than having the breaks, but then the worry of overdoing it, that bowlers needing to bowl regularly.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something since Richo's come back to the club, it's something that we've done a lot more. Not necessarily everyone, he takes it kind of case by case, but the option is certainly there now for guys to have the ability to bowl 11 months of the year if needed. I think it does really just depend on...
I was going to say, it's going to depend on your body and the situation and any injuries or niggles that you've had.
Exactly, and especially for the guys who've got technical things to work on, it's best to get that out of the way as soon as you can in pre-season, kind of pre-Christmas, so then when you come back in January and February you can really start to work towards match intensity rather than worrying about kind of where your front arm's pointing or your back foot standing or anything like that.
Barnard to continue into his second over, 1 for 7 so far. Has to do his own fielding. Jake Libby in the deep, making sure they don't have any chance of coming back for a second.
Talk about fitness and things. Ed Barnard invariably seems to run back to his mark in this form of the games.
I think
forever on the go.
I think that's kind of trying to buy as much time for the group as you can.
For everybody else.
Yeah.
Slower this time. They'll think about coming back for 2. They'll push it and they'll go for it and get it. It's good running from these two, Masood and Deploy. If the call is good though, Joe, from both, I mean, you've got pretty safe to come back for 2, isn't it, with those pockets as you were mentioning?
Yeah, it's obviously seems to be right in the middle of the square today, so it's quite a big playing area.
Mix up, oh, direct hit and he was gone. And they'll come back for an overthrow. Just to make matters worse, Moeen with the throw. Didn't need the third umpire for that. We could tell from up here that a direct hit and he was out. Well, just as we were saying how well the Derbyshire batsmen were calling and running, that was a nightmare.
That would have been nice.
100 is up though. I mean, as well, talk about the invention and the scoops and how commonplace that is now. It's not a surprise to see it. You get used to fielders throwing down stumps as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's something you spend a lot of time on. A lot of time, throwing at stumps. Catches. Some of the catches you see now, you just expect them to be taken, and that's the biggest compliment you can probably give the guys.
nice piece of fielding out there. Scrum half-esque pass from Donavera out to Jake Libby.
He's scrum half size, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon that's his position. Again, pace off the ball from Barnard. Libby on the slide. Back they come for 2. End of the over. 104 for 3. 8 runs off that over from Ed Barnard. Decent stuff from him. We're talking of Brett. I'm obviously judging by his performances, both red ball and white ball. He seems to be relishing in the red ball captaincy. Was there much of a chat between you to the handover during the winter ahead of this campaign?
Yeah, we've spoken. I think it's important.
Pearls of wisdom.
Well, not much, not much. It's important for Brett to feel like I'm kind of not over his shoulder too much. So I said to him pretty early on, I'll be here for you if you need me, but I'm also going to do as much or as little as you want me to do. So yeah, he's taken to it very well. In the periods he had as captain of the white ball stuff in, I think it's 2018 when I had my stress fracture and he did a bit, you could see that he had kind of leadership potential, and so far he's taken to it really well, which has been great to see.
Do you feel a bit lighter as a result?
Very much so, yeah. There's look, I love my time doing it, but I do believe that these things have a cycle. There's only so long you can do. So yeah, my time was up, and as I say, massive honour for me. I thoroughly enjoyed my 5 years. We had some great times, some not so good times as well, but yeah, I'm just enjoying playing now, and yeah, it's Brett's problem now, isn't it?
Knock my door any time. Let me know when you're coming and I'll make sure it's locked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Charlie Morris's third over this evening. I'll pinch a 2. A lot of ground to be covered by Pat Brown out in the deep. One's gone big from Masood. 6 more to his total, and the Derbyshire Falcons cleanly struck out over Jake Libby's head into the crowd.
That's what we were saying earlier, Joe. 6 over mid-off this time.
Yeah, comfortably. And the sound it made off the bat, you knew it was going to be 6.
Yeah. That's his first 6 to go with his 7 fours. Masood into the 60s now.
Pinch a single that time. And I think call the physio on.
Is that hit him on that part of the knee that isn't protected by the pad?
In the back of the leg somewhere. For Shan Masood, it's going to be painful.
Was that Libby with the throw, was it?
I
Can't pick up who threw that in, but
Yeah, it was Jake, nasty man.
Shall I take him out?
That's it. If we can't get him out,
yeah,
We'll injure
knock him out. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like that's caught him right on the side where the pad stops. But obviously he'll be desperately keen to get back on with it. Shan Masood, in great form. He looks all right, doesn't he, to me?
With magic spray or something.
fortunately.
It was the first 6 of the innings, wasn't it? That won a third ball of this over.
Springing around like a boxer now.
Well, there was that last night, wasn't there? After
That
Chris Lynn called for the runner and then hit it, went running off. It didn't seem like he knew where he needed to be. And I thought, well, if he can sprint like that, then I think you'd turn down the runner.
I know.
Yeah, I'm surprised no more wasn't made of that actually, because it was absurd. So everyone running off at the same time. Yeah.
Well, but he seemed pretty sharp when he did run.
Yeah.
And
And then when they sent him back, he sprinted the other end.
Yeah, he went the other way. That one hit hard. Oh, just over the head. Oh, the outstretched arm of Brett D'Oliveira. And away for 4. Turning into a more expensive over again for Charlie Morris, unfortunately. That one just out of the grasp.
That was some effort though. Crikey.
Was, yeah.
What, fingernail on it, maybe?
For the scrum half. A tiny bit
Yeah.
taller.
If I had a lock forward there, he might have bagged that.
Compact. On. Smacked back down the ground. 4 more to the Derbyshire Falcons. 121 for 3 after 14. Partnership building again. That could have been a crucial wicket if Brett D'Oliveira had been able to pouch that one.
Yeah, 17 off that over from Charlie Morris. $121 for 3. 6 to go. Still bobbing around 8.5 and over. So looking at what? Round about 170 at that current rate, maybe more. I mean, that's what they'll be minimum target when they Falcons from here, 170 plus 180.
Yeah, I think we're getting towards territory of really needing a wicket here now. Just the way guys hit it at the death. This, I think I'd probably take 170 as a rapid now.
Yeah, 53 this partnership. They've got going all the way down. 20, 10, 38 and 53. Almost getting himself into a mess there, Shan Masood. That'll test out that little blow he took on his left leg. 65 from 46. Should be a wide, and is. You see what he's trying to do here, Brett, isn't he? Firing it in, trying to keep it full, aiming for that base of the stumps. No margin for error down that left side, and terrific work. Yeah, great stuff. Up goes the finger, and the big fish has been landed by the Rapids. Masuda's gone, 65, and that's a huge step towards trying to keep this Falcons total under 180, 190. Throwing it wide, Brett D'Oliveira, and Ben Cox is not going to miss those. Bails off in a flash. That's clever bowling.
Yeah, really clever. First 2 balls kept it tight to him, and then to chuck it there and induce the edge. That's massive. Obviously, going into this phase of the innings now, where having guys who are set is really dangerous, and obviously to break that partnership now and have a new batter in is crucial.
Yeah, 65, 47 balls, 7 fours and a 6 from the Falcons captain, and the Rapids very relieved to see the back of him as we enter the business end of this Falcons innings. Brett D'Oliveira picking up another wicket, leading run scorer and leading wicket taker in the blast for the Rapids so far this season. Brooke Guest is the new batter. got his maiden T20 half century this season against the Birmingham Bears. He's in away here with an outside edge. So deploy is set 24 from 18, and I guess that will be the thought of anyone coming in now, Joe. As long as deploy stays there, is it just a question of get off strike and get him facing as much of the bowling as possible?
Well, if you would have asked me that 3 years ago, I would have said yes, but I think mindset's changed now to everyone.
Everyone has a go.
Yeah. Certainly when you're setting a score, you know, on the chase it can be a little bit different, but certainly in this situation I think.
Quite confident there was a tickle through from deploy. Umpire has to think about it, and a little word with Brett D'Oliveira at the end of that. Not out the decision, end of the over, 5 to go, 123 for 4. That's a terrific over from Brett D'Oliveira. Wicket in it and only 2 runs coming from it as well. Fabulous stuff.
Great over, just what we needed there, just to kind of break the momentum of the over before, and Masood looked like he was just starting to fancy it. So yeah, great wicket, and you know, enables Mo to bring Ed on now and save Pat and Bravo for the death, which is what he would have wanted to do.
Barnard 1 for 14 so far this evening. Only manage a single there. As you say, Joe, it just checks the momentum, doesn't it, with the wicket and the tight over.
Yeah, it does. It means that, you know, Guest's already faced kind of half an over at this stage of the innings for 2, which is, you know, crucial. You know, if you can imagine Masood having faced those 3 balls the way he was going, it makes a massive difference this format, you know, in this format of the game where, you know, balls at the end of the innings are a premium.
Flick leg side, Colin Munro with the throw in.
Cox has seen enough here. Up he comes.
Quality behind the stumps. Just to keep the batsmen in their crease, keep them in place. Back he goes for deploy. Fine delivery by Ed Barnard. He's also having a decent evening. How good is it having someone like Ben Cox with the gloves and his skills?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. You know, he's as good as there is in the country, that's for sure. You know, at the skill, and it's certainly got me several wickets over the years across the formats just through his skill level. Makes a difference as well, kind of bowlers of the pace of Barn, maybe myself and maybe even Charlie, you know, to have him up to the stumps and have confidence in that and to keep the bat in their crease, it does make a big difference.
Yeah, impressive glove work, like you say, to have him up or back as well. Keep them to one once more. Always thinking about that second run. Fine over from Ed Barnard. 128 for 4, 5 from the over. 4 overs to go. 128 for 4, the Derbyshire Falcons. So progress just halted a little bit for them.
Yeah, 5 runs off that from Ed Barnard. 1 for 19 from his 3 overs. It's a good comeback from the Rapids tonight with ball in hand, definitely. Only really Charlie Morris has suffered a little bit. 3 overs, none for 45. Everyone else has come in comfortably at 7 runs and over or under. Dwayne Bravo is back. None for 14 from his 2 overs. 4 overs to go. 24 balls, 128 for 4. A 10 and over from here gets you what, nearly 170. Just the 1 run out to deep cover.
When he executes his skill, he's so hard to hit. That slower ball that he manages to get right down the wide line,
Yeah.
very hard to hit for boundaries with the field he has set. And then when he goes pace on, obviously he doesn't miss his Yorker very often, which is, well, I guess it's why he's kind of as world renowned as he is, I suppose.
Yeah, taken all those wickets in this form of the game, over 500 of them. Been there, done it, hasn't he? And has a wardrobe full of t-shirts in this form of the game. 129 for 4. He was superb last night amongst the carnage at Wantage Road, and he's doing something similar tonight. None for 15 off his 13 deliveries. Oh well, this guest has saved the day there for the Rapids. That was travelling, goodness me.
And you said about the sound off the bat earlier, Joe.
Well, I also said he doesn't miss his York, and he managed to do that. But yeah, he
knew Guest was there though, didn't he, in the way?
He has smashed that.
Is that one where you just say, I'm fine, I'm
Yeah,
fine?
honestly.
Got tears in my eyes.
Nothing to see here.
Dot ball, crucial. It's in the air, but it's going to drop well short of deep mid wicket. Ed Barnard scampering in. Has that change in pace again? Bit splicey.
Yeah.
Onto the batsman quickly. Even deploys, well set. It's caught out. Another quick chat. Keep it going, Dwayne. 3 balls to go. Just the single again. Out to Pat Brown. Again, aiming down at the base of the stumps. I mean, you take singles all day long now, don't you, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Just got to stop those boundaries.
Yeah, the last 2.4 overs have been exceptional.
Wants a change in the field here. Backward point is dropping all the way onto the fence. In the air, should be simple for Cox, and is. And Dwayne Bravo's pressure has told again. Outstanding bowling from the West Indies man. A 4th wicket prized out, a 5th now. And that was, I know there are no easy catches, Joe, but if you've got the gloves on,
No,
that's as close as it gets, isn't it, really? Another short ball, and again, attempting to fetch it. And it's Deploy, who's been well set, 27 off 26. And again, the pressure back on the Falcons from this terrific spell from Dwayne Bravo has got the wicket, 131 for 5. Well, you're not taking 170 now, are you?
No, I'm not. But it probably just goes to show how well the guys have bowled the last couple of overs.
Yeah, 1 ball to go. And there's the little floaty one outside the off stump. Brilliant stuff from Bravo. End of the over, 3 overs to go. 131 for 5, a wicket, and only 3 runs coming off the over. Absolutely outstanding. 3 overs, 1 for 17. Absolutely brilliant.
Just really tying the Derbyshire Falcons down, aren't they, in the last 3.
I mean, it's testament. It was going along the run rate over 8.5. You'd expect it to be at that or get higher as the innings draws to an end with them going for it, but it's now down to under 8. It's been really good stuff from the Rapids to strangle this Falcons innings late on.
Barnard's final over of the spell. They will pinch 2 though. That first ball. Pat Brown with the throw. For 19 off the first 3. Red Barnard.
Again, it's just singles. They won't mind this.
Yeah, no. Singles in the last handful of overs in a T20.
No, again, the value in new batters coming into the crease. You know, not quite having the pace of the pitch. Going into this period, it's a massive.
It's a hard ask, isn't it, to come in at that stage in the game and just tee off straight away.
Yeah, it is, and there's probably only a few in the world who do it consistently successfully. You know, it's probably the hardest role in 2020 cricket, those specialist kind of end of innings hitters.
Is that potentially sometimes a sort of underrated position? You know, you focus on sort of the batting and bowling, but someone to come in, finish the game off, either first innings or to win a game with the big hits.
Yeah, definitely.
Wide from Barnard.
It's certainly something that, you know, you look at the IPL, they go for massive money, don't they? I think Tim David went for over $1 million, and he's going for big money around the leagues now, because in that kind of specialist boundary hitting role at the end, to do it as consistently as he does is really special.
Hughes has got hold of that one onto the cathedral side of the ground, sails away for 6. So he's saying boundaries at this stage in the match, but it's just the second 6 of their innings though, the Falcons.
Got that down as a bad drop, Joe, in the crowd, have you?
I'll be honest, I switched off.
I think you should have had that, the gentleman in the white t-shirt.
Hughes wanted to follow that one up with a rather more creative shot.
We've seen a number of those ramp attempts. Have they actually executed one?
I think one came over. Was it the one? A couple of bounces for?
Not many
though.
though.
Get hold of it. Don't think it didn't go for 6. There's only 2 6s in the innings. That one's going to fall just short. Brett D'Oliveira. I don't think he would have got there even with a dive. And I suppose there's that decision making between perhaps wearing it in the face and stopping the boundary.
Yeah,
compared to the wicket.
He probably made the right call there.
I think it was quite a long way
Quite
short of him.
Big ass that would have been.
11 from the over with the 6 as well. It's still just under 8 and over.
Ed Bernard's finished off tonight with ball in hand, 4 overs, 1 for 30. Very good effort from him, as it has been from all the Rapids bowlers. Only really Charlie Morris has suffered at the hands of the Falcons batsman. 142 for 5, 12 balls to go. And Bravo to finish off. Final over, 1 for 17 so far. Another superb performance from him tonight. Firing in that Yorker again. They'll want 2 and they'll come back and get it as well. Back up to nudging around about 8 and over here, but looking towards maybe then get up towards the 170 mark, but not with Bravo in this sort of form, though. That's going to be a wide. It's going to be a tough ask to get him away, and you'd imagine Pat Brown would have the final over. He's got 2 left in the locker. Cleans him up. Brilliant from Bravo again. Tremendous. The old adage, you miss, I hit. Fast and full. And he's absolutely nailed that Yorker tonight. The 6th wicket is gone. And Dwayne Bravo doing the business again here for the Worcestershire Rapids. Just trying to whip it across the line, Hughes, and the base of his middle stump clattered into by Dwayne Bravo.
Yeah, again, another new batter in, massively, affects what's achievable for Derby here, which is great news for us.
Yeah, 150 they'll want to chalk off first. And see where they go with the last over. Floater from Bravo. Might be 2 here. Across comes Brett D'Oliveira. Throw is good. But back they come. Again, 2's all right at this stage.
That was that splitter ball that we were talking about.
Yeah, it sort of looked like, oh, that's going to be a full toss. And then it just dies.
Dies, yeah.
There's a slightly quicker one. It's in the air, but it's comfortably away from Pat Brown. And away for 4. So a rare boundary for the Falcons. 2 balls to go. The 150 is up. Absolute bare minimum achieved by them. Now how many more? Can they get up towards the 170? Pace off once more. There's no chance of a second here though. Last ball coming up. Again, firing it in. And the single to end the over. Another outstanding one from Dwayne Bravo. What a performance from him tonight. 4 overs, 2 for 28. Superb stuff again from him. 153 for 6. So still terrific figures with 11 runs coming off his last over. 153 for 6, 1 to go then.
Yeah, and if you look at where Derby were after 10 overs, it's been a very good second half to the innings from the Worcester boys so far.
I mean, they're on course to just about double their score, aren't they?
Yeah, which kind of given the way the game is nowadays, that's probably a win for the bowling side.
Pat Brown with the final 6 balls of the Derbyshire innings. That one's in the air. Can Bravo get to it? He can. Takes the catch on the run. Just after accepting the applause from the Rapids crowd for his bowling figures. Takes the catch to dismiss Brooke Guest. Makes it look simple, doesn't it? Very sort of casual, laid back, isn't it?
It looked actually like he just bowled an over the first couple of paces. But yeah, once he was there, never in doubt.
Can't keep him out of the game at the moment. Here's Mark Watt then, who's coming in for the last 5 balls of the innings.
Pat Brown's first wicket this evening. 1 for 11 from his 13 balls so far. He's not a youngster anymore, is he, Dwayne Bravo?
No, he's not. He's experienced.
Experienced. Time in the game. 38 now. Making sure they've got the fielders where they want them for Pat Brown. Watt on strike. Pinch a single as Pat Brown dives across trying to stop that one. Won't mind a single though. So based on that halfway stage, then the Rapids going to go in to the interval very pleased.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, providing these last 4 balls stay on script.
4 sixes.
You know, I think certainly take most of the momentum into it, which is always a good place to be.
Oh, we talked that one up then as it smacked straight back down the ground for 6. McKinnon, with the third 6 of the Falcons innings. It's that time in the game though, you can have a big swing and hope that it comes off.
Yeah. Also probably shows that guys all the way down, you know, if you mis-execute your skill, they can get you.
One full in the air, but short of Barnard, who keeps them to a single. 2 balls to go in the innings.
A good comeback that.
And moving around all over the place in the crease. Watt, but gets that away for 6 more. You talk about invention, Dan.
Well, he went one way, then the other,
then
didn't
swapped
he?
round.
Yeah,
He
he
had
did.
time moving round.
So feeling a little bit guilty, like I've kind of reverse commentator's curse our own side.
He said if the 4 balls don't go for,
Yeah, exactly.
for 4 sixes, 2 sixes, keep this one tight.
They've been leached. I think we could coin a new phrase.
That one goes behind to Cox, who throws it in. They'll take a single to end the innings.
Nice idea from Cox that way, because if it hit, he was out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So you could see why what he was trying to do there. But end of the innings then, 168 for 6. So how are you feeling about that, skipper?
Chaseable, very much chaseable. As I say, I think, it's been sometimes at New Road, it can grip and look a bit stoppy. It hasn't felt like it's that kind of wicket. Big outfields, lots of runs to be had.
Yeah, I think they'll be reasonably pleased with that, the Rapids, to keep them under 170. That's a very good effort, bearing in mind, of course, the context of last night as well and the punishment they took down at Wantage Road. That is some gutsy comeback, you have to say, by the bowlers. Moeen Ali, 4 overs, 2 for 24. Pat Brown, 3 overs, 1 for 25. Dwayne Bravo, again, absolutely outstanding exhibition of skillful bowling, changing up pace and firing in those Yorkers. He nailed them tonight. 2 for 28 from his 4 overs. 2 overs of spin from Brett D'Oliveira, 1 for 13. And Ed Barnard bowled very well as well, 1 for 30 from his 4 overs. Really only Shan Masood, who's been in such great form for Derbyshire in all forms of cricket this summer, really was a bit of a pest. 65 from 47 balls with 7 fours and 1 6. When he was very cleverly dismissed by a combination of Cox and D'Oliveira out stumped, then the Falcons' momentum rather bled away. Lewis Rees got 11, Kerr 2, promotion to number 3 didn't quite work out. Wayne Madsen, who's always seemed to be a problem for the Rapids over the years, they got him early too. He made only 16. Deploy 27, Guest 10 and Hughes 9 at the end. McKiernan with a little cameo finishing 14 not out. 168 for 7 is the Falcons' target. 169 to win, and Joe's quite confident that the Rapids will be feeling that is well within their compass tonight. What's been impressive, Joe, is bearing in mind what happened less than 24 hours ago. That says quite a lot about their character to come out tonight with ball in hand after what happened and produce what they have done. Yeah,
very much so. I think what was quite telling, we spoke at the top about kind of simplicity and staying nice and calm. I think given a couple of overs probably got away from us, but it felt like we kept it simple by and large. Executed obviously a lot better than we have done certainly last night, and we fielded well as well. So yeah, as I say, I'm quietly confident here, but fingers crossed we do the basics back, with the bat. If we get off to a good start, run well between the wickets, I'm sure we'll be there or thereabouts.
Great stuff. Well, Joe will join us for the Rapids chase in just under 10 minutes time, so please do tune back into us for the coverage of the Rapids chase as they try and get to 169 to win this game. Out come the Rapids batters to try and chase down the 169 they need to beat the Derbyshire Falcons and register their second win in the T20 Blast so far this season. 168 for 7 was the Derbyshire score. Brett D'Oliveira and Jake Libby, the opening batters for the Rapids. I'm Dan Wheeler, Sally Bentley-Reid alongside me, and the Worcestershire all-rounder Joe Leach, part of our commentary team tonight. You were saying, Joe, before the break that that seems to be just the right side of par as far as the Rapids are concerned, that total?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, certainly looking at where it could have been at one point, I thought they closed out the innings really well. Certainly the back 10 overs. So yeah, if we get a good start here and have a reasonable power play, I certainly see us as favourites.
Start with a 3, all run. Didn't quite have the energy to get to the fence. And, Libby is away. Contrast at the top of the order as well, Joe, isn't there, between these two batters?
Yeah, I think it's been impressive with Brett since he's taken on this kind of role opening the batting, is he's certainly developed his power down the ground. He's struck it really, really well since he's taken on the role, and Jake obviously has a little bit more touch and gets off strike very well.
Kerr in again, but left alone this time by D'Oliveira. Yeah, that contrasting styles. I mean, how does that work? I mean, you can feed off each other, can you? If you sort of dovetail in terms of the way you approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously Ed Pollock's obviously not here, but I think about the Bears. They opened it off spin to kind of try and nullify his threat, but obviously played into Brett's hands. And if you can help your mate out, if they've got a matchup they don't particularly like the look of, it's very useful.
Yeah, 20 he took off that opening over from Paul Sterling. That game against the Bears, Brett D'Oliveira, first 3 balls of the match went for 4. It's the only game the Rapids have managed to win so far, but they'll be hopeful of making it 2 tonight. 5 off the first 3 deliveries. Kerr, this tall left arm New South Welshman, and that should be 4. It's just arched over the infield. No, he's going to pull it in just in front of the boundary rope. I thought he'd timed that a bit better than he had, Brett D'Oliveira.
Yeah, great intent though early on in the power play, putting the bowlers under pressure. Being able to to take that option on is something that really does impose yourself as a batter.
Is it a sort of philosophy? If it's up, it's going.
Yeah, very much so. That's my philosophy anyway.
Through they come. I mean, you had some fun in the One Day Cup last season, Joe. How much did you enjoy the innings here against Kent, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, well, I've dined out on it a lot. Yeah, very much so. It's probably one of my favourite actually in a Worcestershire.
Yeah, brilliant game that was. As he tickled that through, he has, and Libby has gone for 3. Out second ball, the thinnest of outside edges through to Brooke Guest behind the stumps, and the Rapids haven't managed to negotiate the first over without losing a wicket. Libby was out in the first over last night, and he's perished again tonight, gone for 3, and the Rapids 8 for 1 wicket with the final over. Is there a better dressed cricketer than Moeen when he comes out like that? Look,
No,
the shoes. It's the shoes.
He makes the game look good, doesn't it?
That is a great
He's
look.
got competition with DJ. He's got some funky spikes as well.
I've said it before, they should be standard issue, those blue shoes. Well, you've got them on, actually.
Matching the
Yeah.
kit.
Yeah, I have.
Turquoise. What's going to start for the Falcons from the New Road end? Oliveira after a single Moeen Ali. Not convinced there's one there. Fielder's in on the ring. That one hit very hard by Brett Oliveira. Crashed away to the boundary. He's certainly enjoying his cricket at the moment.
That's his strength, though, isn't it, as well, Joe? Any touch of width,
Yeah.
fast hands, that extra bit of power he's got as well to his game.
Yeah, he really picks length up exceptionally well, and that's obviously a massive strength in the power play, because it means that, you know, if it's slightly short in a way that some guys get stuck on the front foot looking to hit power, whereas Brett's got the ability to go right back deep into the pocket, but then also if it is over pitched, he's got the power to smash it as well.
Sharp single to follow up the boundary.
No, Moeen wasn't happy, understandably, after last night. Captain out in the middle now. About to face his first ball.
He's been given. Disappointment again for Moeen Ali. Need to see that one again. But gone first ball, the Worcestershire Rapids captain. And they lose the second wicket inside the first 2 overs this evening. As we get a replay.
Well, that's drifted in quite a bit, hasn't it,
has.
from over the wicket from the left arm spinner. And obviously umpire just thinking that's going to take the top of middle stump maybe. Well, Moeen trapped on the back foot. He's out first ball. Obviously far from ideal. That's a real blow, Joe.
Yeah, it is. You know, we said at the top about getting through the beginning of this power play kind of unscathed. Unfortunately, we've not been able to do that. Obviously in Colin, you know, we've got a lot of quality here and experience, and obviously Brett's an experienced campaigner now as well. So unfortunately, probably a little bit of a rebuild job, and you know, probably goes to show, unlike last night, we've got probably the ability to just take stock a little bit here, with the chase only being kind of 170 as opposed to up towards 200.
Monroe in. Cut away. That one will run away for 4. Meeting third man on the ring. Colin Monroe. Well, other than last night and against Leicestershire, was in good touch up until the 2 games. Missed the first one. Delayed arrival from New Zealand, but and 66, 53, 26, 41 before just the 1 in the last 2 innings for him.
2 overs gone then. 17 for 2. So 9 off that over. It's an interesting point you make, Joe, actually, because the fact that they're only chasing what seems to be par or just below par is you have precious little time to do anything in T20s, but the old idea of trying to rebuild, just seeing it for a couple of balls kind of is no longer applicable. But when you are chasing this sort of total, I mean, you have got that tiny bit of leeway, I suppose, haven't you, to maybe just consolidate for a touch, but not for very long.
No, well, the game moves very quickly, and when you're out there in the middle, it doesn't feel like you're consolidating, you've got that much time, but it does make a difference knowing that the rate's kind of 8.5, 9, as opposed to 12 or 13 as it was kind of 24 hours ago. It does make a big difference, and it means that Colin, Brett, they don't have to start looking to take the power play for something ridiculous. They can afford to get themselves in and kind of re-establish a platform for the guys down the order.
I mean, judging what they were facing last night, 13 6s and 19 4s in that Steelbacks innings. That puts immense pressure on you right from the very start. Good fielding on the edge of the ring from Shan Masood. Certainly might even have stopped 4 there, because got something on it and managed to keep it within his grasp second hand. The required rate is just over 8.5. 152 more needed to win. Should be just a single. Sam Connors down at third man, making swift progress and getting rid of the ball quickly. Went down to him pretty fast off a thick outside edge from D'Oliveira. Colin Munro's had a terrific start to the tournament. A rare low score for him last night. But the match is there for him to rediscover that form this evening. He's away with that dab down to third man. Through it goes. Hasn't quite got the legs, has it? Yes, it has. Thought he was going to chase it down at one stage then, but it's just got enough on it, energy, and it's going to run away from the fielder anyway. It's one of those annoying things for the chasing fielder that they're never going to get close enough to the ball to try and stop it, where it runs away from you down the hill slightly. 4 more to D'Oliveira, 23 for 2. Last ball the over coming up. D'Oliveira up to 15. This might be trouble. Top edge. Oh! And they've got in each other's way. And D'Oliveira gets a life. And the crowd gets something to cheer about. Dear, oh dear. That was a mess.
Yeah, you could I'm not laughing at you could just see it happening. And having been in that position, yeah, there's no worse feeling, and yeah, as you say, Brett survives, and that's a bit of fortune. It might be just a bit of fortune that, as kind of pairs fans, we need at the moment.
Dropped by the former Worcestershire player George Scrimshaw, who got there, collided with his teammate, and down it went.
I think he actually caught it and then got kind of rugby tackled out of his hands.
Yeah.
As you say, you could see that was going to happen from our vantage point. You kept thinking, well, surely they're going to call.
Yeah. No such thing as an easy catch.
Not if someone knocks into you as well. Wayne Madsen have his bowl of the evening. D'Oliveira, has he got this one safe as well? It does land safe, but it won't run away for 4. D'Oliveira living on the edge this evening. .26 for 2 in the Start of the 4th over. Drilled hard by Brett D'Oliveira for 1.
I mean, going back to that catch, Joe, I know the worst thing you should shout is mine, but there needs to be some kind of communication, doesn't there?
Yeah, there does. There does. I think probably both of them felt like, you know, with how quick it happened, probably both of them felt that there was no one else kind of near them, I guess. But yeah, obviously early shout, that's the key.
Oh. Colin Monroe's been given out by the square leg umpire. Doesn't seem to particularly like the decision. But
Well, it's clever thinking
hard,
from Brooke Guest, isn't it? Because he's seen that Monroe has wandered out of his crease. He was not very happy last night, Colin Monroe, about the decision he got there. He was convinced he hadn't tickled it behind to the keeper, and tonight is another one of those dismissals that will really, really annoy him. But it's great work from Brooke Guest, because on replay it seems that back foot was in the air. Quick thinking, and the umpire at square leg, finger straight up. 27 for 3.
So we've just seen that. I think he's a bit unlucky there. I think it might have dragged his foot as opposed to lifted, but that's me with my Rapids tinted glasses on, obviously.
Well, it's impossible. I mean, I say he lifted his foot. I mean, it's impossible for us to tell from side on, obviously.
I mean, Colin was pretty adamant, wasn't he?
He's a lot closer
pointing
than
at
we
where
are.
he was, wasn't he? And that's quite a distance to be given out from a square leg, isn't it? You're not going to see for definite whether that foot's down or slightly in the air. Wayne Madsen, thorn in the Rapids side.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, good hands, Sal. Good hands. Get her in the slips. Windy up here on the balcony. Notes almost ending up at long off.
Haynes tries to cut that one away, but no run on the final ball. Wayne Madsen's first over this evening. 4 gone, 27 for 3. The Rapids 3 down in the power play again for Worcestershire. Chasing at 169 to get what would be just the second win for them in the competition. I think it's 2 decisions in 2 evenings that Colin Monroe hasn't been thrilled by.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a lot closer than we were, so yeah, maybe he was convinced looking down that his studs were behind the line, or enough of them were. But quick work from Guest. Certainly 27 for 3. 2 overs to go in the power play.
Get the line repainted. It looks a bit faint, that end from up here.
So he puts us in, a difficult position. We said we didn't want to lose early wickets, but obviously that's unfortunately something we've done. So, rebuild needed.
Yeah, the 4th time this season in the power play that the Rapids have lost 3 wickets. That's hurting at the moment.
It's nice to see George Grimshaw back bowling. I know we don't want. So apologies, Scrimmy, for this, but obviously I don't want you to get 5 for tonight. But he's had a really tough time in his last couple of years here with injury, and he's got massive potential. So it's really nice to see him back fit and playing and doing really well for Derby.
Yeah, he's enjoying his cricket again. 3 wickets in 4 T20s in his short time here at New Road. 25 so far and counting for Derbyshire. He's the leading wicket taker for the Falcons as well. so far this season with 11 coming into this game. And he's going at just over 8 and over economy wise, which is very good indeed.
Similar to kind of Pat earlier, you know, he's someone who's got high pace. Obviously his height as well makes him, you know, very tricky, certainly at Derby on those quicker wickets. He really gets the ball to fizz through. And I remember in 2017 when he made his debut, he made an impact on the side kind of for us, and was unfortunate to pick up injuries off the back of that, because it looked like it was going to be the start of a, you know, blossoming period for him here.
It's not just the hairstyle from here, but there are elements of Steve Finn about him.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, the dodgy tash as well.
I can't see his tash from here. But yeah, just the hair, the same sort of height, similar kind of
frame.
action, approach to the wicket.
Yeah, very much so. You know, he's someone who's got a high ceiling. If he can stay fit, he's, you know, a very impressive bowler.
Got that deliberate start to his run-up, a la Adam Finch. He still stares at the toes of his boots, doesn't he?
No, he stopped a little bit.
Has he stopped doing that now?
Yeah, it was quite bad for a while.
Did he have messages on them as well?
He did.
He say he had
He
messages?
did.
I think
he used to.
came and joined the commentary box one time, but
He did.
wouldn't
He
disclose.
used to. I think county cricket's got him, and he's gone away from
knocked
that.
it out of him.
Yeah, it's knocked it out of him. But yeah, he used to.
Beautifully put away. No one's going to stop that. Bit short from Scrimshaw, and D'Oliveira picking up the length very quickly and dispatching it through mid-wicket with ease. The end of the over. 5 overs gone now. The score has ticked on to 35 for 3. It's the wickets column at the moment that's the concern. 134 now needed to win. They would need to go a little bit quicker than they are at the moment. They need just under 9 and over. They're going for 7s at the moment.
What to bowl his second over this evening. The wicket of Moeen Ali already. That one's in the air, just away from the diving hand of Masood, and away for 4. The Rapids needing a little bit of luck now. 3 down. They were 27 for 3.
It's a wonderful shot from Jack Haynes. He played a few of them last night as well. How good is he, Joe, for someone of his age?
Yeah, he's very good. You know, felt like kind of the last 2 seasons we've needed him in 4-day cricket in particular to just get that monkey off his back with the 100, and now he has. I think yeah, the world's his oyster. I think you know, if you speak to Mo or any of the guys who've gone up a level, I think they feel like he's got it without putting too much pressure on him. It's just about him kind of relaxing and letting it happen now, because his talent is as good as I've seen.
Yeah, I guess it's the biggest compliment you can pay him in one respect to say how inevitable that first red ball 100 has looked pretty much since he came into the side.
Very much so. He's, you know, the way he played Australia, I think, one of his first games, and
Yeah.
the way he played that, I think it was only 10 or 15 balls, but it just looked like he had the game to go up even from the level he's at the moment, which is, for someone so young, is exciting.
Slashed 4 from D'Oliveira takes him up to 29. Relieves a bit of the pressure as well.
Was that the summer of 18 or was it the Australia game? I think it was
19.
19, I think, yeah.
Was it 19?
He
And
came
was
from
here
school.
commentating, but I can't remember what year it was. I think the last few years have seemed a little bit strange. I think I just remember feeling very old when you realise that you'd seen his dad play. No, like you say, the form in the red ball and then 250s already in the T20.
Yeah, he's another who kind of his power game certainly developed as well over the course of the last couple of winters. Some of the shots he's played in this campaign off the kind of back over the bowler's head, off the back foot, have been, you know, really good to see. The way he closed out the innings in the Bears game, you know, just shows he's got kind of different strings to his bow.
Yeah, 53 not out in that game, and then the 61 against Yorkshire up at Headingley. And a very classy looking player, I think. So 46 for 3 to end the Rapids power play.
Almost identical, 46 for 2. The Falcons were after 6 overs. Another run here. Jeez, Joe. I'm having a nightmare with the wind and all my various. Alex Hughes is the new bowler, replacing George Scrimshaw. That's on the full by D'Oliveira. They're going to take him on. Straight to him, but again, good running.
The Australia game was a game Charlie Morris got 50 as well, wasn't it?
It was. Speaking about dining out on innings.
Yeah. Is he still?
I think, in all honesty, the rest of us are more, because Mitchell Stark bowled him when he was on about 20, and Moz ran off. It was on the way off and got called back because it was a no ball. I've never seen anyone as white as when he came off.
I think
To be fair, he got absolutely peppered, didn't he?
He did.
Shelled in that game.
They were firing them in.
Slower from Hughes.
I did speak to him afterwards, interviewed him, and I think he couldn't quite believe he'd managed to get a 50 against the bowling.
I don't think any of us could.
It's on the CV.
More runs here. Hint of coming back for 2, but no real prospect of that. 50 is up though. 50 for 3. Approaching the end of the 7th over. That run rate starting to creep up though. End of the over. 50 for 3, 7 gone. $119 still needed, 13 overs to go. Watts into double figures, but he has taken a wicket. But a nice partnership developing at the moment between these two. The Rapids need to string something together here just to steady the ship and give themselves a platform to really try and push on and get these extra 119 they need.
Matty McKernan on from the New Road End. His first over this evening. comes down to meet that one. Wants a second, but don't think that was there. Jack Haynes doesn't want a second. 5 wickets so far in the competition. In 7 games for Falcons.
So to what extent here, Joe, in this period, are you playing your natural game for all intents and purposes, both these players? Because, I mean, how concerned will they be about the wickets at the moment? Because it's that tightrope, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think probably at the moment happy to just absorb another over or two. Look for the boundary option if it's there. But as I say, in this format, you don't have much time to do that, and sometimes it just depends whether you fancy a bowler. If there's a bowler that you like the look of, I think you'd probably be encouraged to take on the boundary, because invariably there's one or two that you're finding a little bit more tricky. So if it's someone you feel you can hit, it's probably best to get them.
Not a bad opening over though from the leg spinner so far.
Just 4 from McKinnon's first over. That required run rate just pushing over 9.5 now. Going along at just under 7. Be looking to build this partnership though and keep those wickets in hand further. .54 for 3 after 8. Falcons were 67 after their 8. 2 down. Third wicket falling at 68 for them.
He's got hold of that very nicely, all the way. 6 runs to Jack Haynes. Wasn't all that short actually, but he was onto it in a flash, and again made a very satisfying sound out the middle of his bat and sailing over towards the cathedral side of the ground for 6.
Yeah, strong wind blowing that way as well, so once you get it up into it, there's a good chance you're going to clear the rope.
Yes, one thing the Chris Lynn in particular made advantage of last night, the strong wind at Wantage Road blowing down the ground, and Haynes will pick up 4 more here. Little more streakily, you have to say, but he's found the fence, and that's all that matters for the Rapids at the moment. Haynes up to 22. Rapids have started this over well, 6 and 4. In the air, and he's found the gap again. 6 more. Haynes is taking the fight here to the Falcons. Scrimshaw is quick and he's getting short, and he's getting pummeled at the moment. 6-4-6.
Yeah, again getting it up into the wind, and kind of as we alluded to last over, Jack's obviously taken a fancy here, and he's decided that this is the over where he catches up on his strike rate.
Likes the pace on.
Seeing it well, I think you could say. More runs here, might be 4. He's picked the gap perfectly. Well, what an over this is turning into. 20 off the first 4 deliveries. And Jack Haynes is motoring here. 32 from 21. Scrimshaw's just starting to bowl both sides of the wicket here, and again his pace just means that Haynes can just get a little tickle on it, times it beautifully, and away it flies. Pressure now back on the bowler. He's responded with a dot ball here. But the hard work's done in this over now. No need to go mad off this last delivery. Just what the Rapids need, that injection of momentum. Looks like just a single to end the over. Indeed it is. A terrific over for the Worcestershire Rapids. 21 coming from it with that leg bye off the last one. 9 overs gone, 75 for 3. That's exactly the sort of over the Rapids needed just to get things back on track, Joe.
Yeah, just that little bit of momentum. You know, you could kind of sense around the ground everyone was starting to look at kind of runs required and the run rate required and starting to get a bit kind of antsy. But I think the beauty you have when you're out in the middle and you're in control is that you have a lot more balls than probably you sometimes think. So, and you back yourself to have a big over like that to catch up. So yeah, nice to have it kind of now, and hopefully some smart cricket over the next 1 or 2 puts us in a really good position going into the back half of the innings.
Because what it gives them now is they can sort of push this one around a bit now, can't they? Not have an over off, but you know, you don't have to. The pressure is off to a certain degree.
Yeah, and you'll probably find that a boundary will come off the back of that just through momentum.
Haynes back quickly. Quick running between the wickets by these two. No, D'Oliveira will get you between the wickets quickly.
Half century stand is up as well.
So you can just work this one around after the bigger previous over. Going around the required run rate. Watt into his 3rd over this evening, 3 singles. How different is it receiving the ball from the height of George Scrimshaw at 6'7"? You say obviously Haynes targeted him in that previous over, but how different is it with that extra height?
Yeah, it is, and depending on the surface it can be either an advantage for the bowler or an advantage for the batters. Quite often here at New Road they're not as quick as some of the surfaces going around in county cricket, so you know, slapping in halfway down, you don't tend to get much mileage out of that here at New Road, whereas at somewhere like Derby that length is really effective. I mean, look, Jack's obviously middled those, got them up into the wind last over, and they've gone for 6. And I've seen, you know, in George's career at Derby so far, he's had a lot caught on the boundary, so kind of from his point of view, he's got to take the rough with the smooth, I guess. And from Jack's point of view, it's clever batting, kind of realising that pace on the ball on this surface is what needs to be targeted.
Yeah. You say, we were discussing earlier as well, it's that adapting, isn't it, to the situation at hand, the bowler, the wickets you're on, and especially at such a young age then for Jack Haynes, well, and George Scrimshaw as well, have to learn what's going to work on this wicket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back on par, pretty much, the Rapids 80 for 3 after 10 overs at the halfway stage. The Falcons were 86 for 3. So they're in good shape and in good hands at the moment with these two, D'Oliveira and Haynes. Half-century partnership already in the bag. Big swing and a miss on that occasion for Haynes. I say watching Haynes as well, I mean, sometimes you see it with players, and a lot of times you don't see it with players. Seem to change their style when they're playing this form of the game, when they're trying to hit out. But one thing I've noticed watching Jack when he's going well is that he never loses his shape or his form, does he? They're all great cricket shots.
No, he just
pure.
Yeah, he times it. He's got obviously just natural power, and I think that's probably something he's learnt the last year or two, that he doesn't need to change too much from his technique to score the boundaries. And yeah, it's when he hits it, it stays hit, that's for sure.
Sweat round the corner, and he's got it away from Scrimshaw as well, down to the fence for 4. Clever work from Brett D'Oliveira. A little bit of jeopardy because he would have known there was a man there. Not much margin for error if he got that wrong. Could have ended up looking a bit silly just looping a catch straight to him, but got the angle spot on. .83 to win. Just beyond the halfway point of the run chase. I want to think about trying to put pressure on the fielder here, coming back for 2, but sensibly deciding against it. These two coming in at 27 for 3 when the Rapids were in trouble. End of the over. 11 overs gone now. 87 for 3. Well, yeah, came together with 3 wickets down, and that was a real problem. But now, thanks to these two, 87 for 3 with 9 overs to go. That 3 in the W column, Joe's looking less problematic now, and now you're starting to think, well, there's a platform here and we've got guys still to come.
Yeah, exactly that. And 2 guys who faced kind of 30 balls each means that you'd back one of them to go now probably and try and take a bit of the sting out of this chase and get us ahead of the rate.
Still not much in it. 89 for 3 plays 91 for 3. Poised for a close one by the look of it.
Evans McKiernan into his second this evening. On a take 2. Taking on the arm. Good running by the Worcestershire Rapids. Crowd appreciate that. Good crowd in this evening at New Road. In the air, it could be in trouble, but it's been dropped. D'Oliveira with another life this evening. Dropped on 16 earlier by Derbyshire, and down again onto 47 now. Brett D'Oliveira.
Straight to Connors. Oh, it was flat. Got there.
D'Oliveira down the ground this time. I won't risk a second.
I mean, as we know, Joe, there is no such thing as a simple catch.
No.
But
yeah,
he had time to see that, didn't he?
Be disappointed, I'm sure.
Jack Haynes has been bowled by Matthew McKiernan, though, just after we were singing his praises. He's gone for 35 from 29. And just rehearsing what he was hoping to do with that shot as he makes his way back to the dugout. And a round of applause for a fine 35.
Well, he was eyeing up somewhere near the Graham Hick Pavilion, wasn't he, with that attempted sort of sweep.
I think more like St John's.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, he would have cleared St John's. That was almost a Bransford if he'd managed to connect with that. From that angle, we could just see how much power would have been beyond that if it have managed to connect, but sadly for Haynes and for the Rapids, it was the timbers that were rattled rather than the windows of the flats in St John's. 92 for 4. So here we go then, Kashif Ali. What a moment for the young man to be coming in now. Game is set up. Chance to be a hero, Joe.
Absolutely, the script is there. I'm looking forward to seeing him bat and go about his business on kind of this stage, you know, pressure situation to come in it.
He's got one ball.
It's exciting for him.
Facing this over. Sees it out for a dot. 12 gone, 92 for 4 the Rapids. We say he's been getting runs in the twos this season and given a contract with Worcestershire till the end of this current season.
Yeah, by all accounts, you know, he's been very impressive in the second team. I know he scored runs kind of both for us and against us in the second team. He's got pedigree in kind of global tournaments. I know he played in the Kashmir Premier League this winter and did exceptionally well in that. He's played in America as well, kind of in these tournaments that are cropping up. So, look, I don't think he'll be overly phased from what I've heard and seen of him so far. And as I say, it's an exciting time to make an impact on your debut.
Flicked away by Brett D'Oliveira. Won't come back for the 2 that would bring up his half century. So Kashif now has his first look at Hughes. Yeah, his numbers are pretty good in the 2s. A 65, a 57, a 63, a couple of 30s in his last couple of digs in the T20 stuff. Got his chance tonight. And there's a game to be won here. Nicely punched, good work in the covers though, and sensibly sending Brett D'Oliveira back.
Interesting that the Derby fielders have kind of sensed the debutant on naught. They've come
in
on the 1 and
just trying to crowd him as much as they can, as much as they dare. Swift work by Guest down the leg side, but he's not going to get away with that.
Took the catch, didn't he, of Kerr early on. But I would imagine he's desperate to get off the mark. Yeah.
Oh, and they've gone down again. That's the 3rd catch that Derbyshire have spilled. Shan Masood there at extra cover. Again, it was in and then it was out again.
yeah, good from Brett there, just going down and just giving Cash a little tap on the back.
The Falcons have not helped themselves in the field tonight. 3 catches dropped of varying difficulty, but certainly you would have thought all 3 normally would have been taken. D'Oliveira, who's one of the batters to profit to still be there. 1 away from another very, very good half century, and there it is. Very good work from Brett D'Oliveira again. His 10th half century in this form of the game for the Worcestershire Rapids, and his terrific summer is just carrying on. He'll know that the job is not yet done. 96 for 4. Kashif is doubling his score with that punched single. Good looking stroke. Yeah, he's now level with Vikram Solanki in the Hall of Fame for Worcestershire half century makers. Joining Solanki on 10. Only Graham Hick with 12 and Moeen Ali with 16 have more than Brett D'Oliveira now in this form of the game. It beats his previous best against Derbyshire as well, which was 44 prior to today. Come on, 36 balls with 5 fours.
Kashif with his third single. Handing the strike back to Brett D'Oliveira. On to his 50 this evening. You feel like the pressure's on. You don't want to say anything now after the Pat Brown over and the there's two sixes. I don't say anything about Brett now. Hit hard, not too hard. Just take the single to Connors.
You can kind of sense actually in the ground that it's just starting to get to crunch time, isn't it?
A bit of a knife edge. He's gone big though, and he will be taken this time. Kashif, who had a life, but has been catch taken this time. He goes for 3. Kashif Ali on his debut for Worcestershire Rapids. 3 from 7 this evening. Not too far inside the boundary.
Yeah, kind of the exact opposite to Jack earlier, into the wind, and that's what's done him, I think, in the end.
You can only imagine if that one was with the wind, he wasn't too far inside the rope. Hughes, and that possibly could have sailed over his head. 5 down for 99 Worcestershire Rapids. And the 14th over. That required rate just gone up, creeping up to 11 nearly. How much do you sense that as a player in some of these games when they're tight, the crowd sort of atmosphere or anything, you know, they get a little bit quieter? Do you notice that at all?
I guess probably subconsciously a little bit. Probably, to be honest, the more you're noticing that kind of stuff, generally the worse you're playing, to be honest. You know, as I kind of alluded to earlier, so when you're out in the middle, you do tend to feel like you've got more control, more time than kind of what it seems like here, because obviously ball by ball here it seems very precarious.
Well, stop there.
You know, there's enough experience in this group now to know that kind of one big over swings it completely back into Worcester's favour. And likewise, you know, for Derbyshire, they're also in a similar position. You know, if they get two wickets in an over, it really puts Worcester on the back foot.
100 up for the Rapids. Ed Barnard out in the middle to join Brett D'Oliveira. Pinch a single there. Alert to the game. Yeah, I suppose it's that key, isn't it? You're focusing on your game, and if you're too aware of, you know, the scoreboard, the numbers, the crowd, everything else, then you're not in that sort of focus zone probably of where you need to be.
Yeah, guys have got different ways of dealing with situations like this. I think, you know, some people would just purely focus on watching the ball and not really worry about anything else, but I think, you know, an engagement in the scoreboard certainly now is probably pretty necessary. And, you know, this is where the experience of these two, they've played a lot of cricket, Ben and Dwayne, obviously, you know, we've got guys in the shed who've got a lot of experience, so hopefully they can, you know, use that and you know, and take us forward.
Yeah, tense finale in prospect here. 102, 103 for 5 now. 66 off 35's the equation. 5 wickets remaining. D'Oliveira the key. It was good cricket as well from Brett in the last ball of that over as well, because Ed didn't know where the ball had gone, did he?
No.
Not a clue. And he was obviously aware of where it was and where the keeper was and the danger. But D'Oliveira at the non-striker's end knew and called him through immediately. That was good cricket. Good work from Masood, but he can't stop 3 runs, certainly. That piece of work on the edge of the circle. And he's dragged it on. And the game turns again. Derbyshire pick up the 6th wicket. Ed Barnard has gone, playing on to Hughes for 4. Still 65 needed. 2 balls to go in this 15th over. Ben Cox is the new man coming in now. Touch unlucky there. Looking to flay it through the offside and that dreaded inside edge. Now then, what's going on here then, Joe? What's the conversation? Don't get out.
Hopefully it's calm. Yeah, hopefully it's nice and calm. You know, Ben's been in these situations in finals days, as we're well aware. Brett's in. You know, as I say, there's more time than you think, and quite often the game does kind of find a way of coming back to you if you're good enough to stay calm. But yeah, look, it's certainly not the position I would have hoped we'd be in 3 or 4 overs ago.
No, indeed. It's 2 runs of ball territory at the moment. Final ball. Pace off, slapped out to mid-off. It's wide enough for the fielder. They should be able to come back for 2. (107 for 6) at the end of that over. 5 runs coming from it, and the loss of Ed Barnard. 1 for 21 from his 4 overs from Alex Hughes. Very good effort from him. McKiernan still got 1 to come. The leg spinner, 2 for 14. He's been fantastic. And unsurprisingly, he's going to finish off here as the Falcons look to turn the screw.
Five to go. McKiernan's last. Cox 1 from 1. Hit hard. He's found the gap between the fielders on the cover boundary. 4 to start the 16th over. Is someone like Ben Cox calm in this situation?
Yeah, he will be. He will be. He's done it before, you know, and as I say, he's done it on the biggest stage before. So, yeah, I'm sure he will be. We've got to stop doing this.
I can't talk. I'm not going to ask anything else. I know I was just recounting those man of the match performances at finals day, and he's gone LBW this evening, 5 from 3 for Ben Cox.
You have to be so careful, don't you, when you're trying to work the ball. Not that he was particularly looking to work against the spin of the ball there, but big foot straight down the middle, and you just got to make sure you get some bat on it. And sadly for Cox and for the Rapids, he couldn't, and that was as plumb as it gets. 111 for 7. This is starting to feel a bit tricky now.
It is, and you know, I don't think we particularly managed the last 5 or 6 overs overly well, to be honest. You know, but whilst kind of Brett's in, there's hope, and obviously, speaking about experience, this man at the crease has won plenty of competitions as well. So
he has. Not over yet.
Bravo out in the middle now. Yeah, over 6,500 runs in T20 cricket. Need all of that experience now this evening. 58 from 27 to register just the second win of the competition. Big appeal from Matty McKiernan. He's already got 2 this evening.
Wonder how close that one was.
3. Yeah. Driven out by Bravo. Took a while before he decided to set off for a single there.
He is certainly someone who won't be panicking.
Cool and calm. Hit very hard by D'Oliveira. Fielded well to end with the top ball. Starting to look a bit tight. 112 for 7 from 16. McKinnon 3 for 19 from his 4 this evening. Fantastic bowling figures.
Well, he hadn't taken a wicket against the Rapids prior to tonight. It's only his 3rd game, but he's made up for it. And some. 3 for 19 from 4 overs. Fantastic stuff. A partnership between D'Oliveira and Haynes standing out amongst the fairly modest company that it keeps. You have to say, sadly, for the Rapids' point of view, 3 wickets left. Still need 57 to win. Here comes Kerr back into the attack. Starts with a wide. 4 overs to go. 57 from 20, 56 from 24. Of course, it's tense. This is tense.
It is.
But D'Oliveira is still there, and while he is still there, there will be a fair degree of confidence and hope the way he's batted. Bravo at the other end, as Joe was saying, will not be phased at all. I can't think of any situation really where Dwayne Bravo might get rattled, given what he's done in the game and his CV. Seen it all and done it all. Can he help get his team over the line here? In the air for a while, just short of Masood, but through they come for a single. I mean, it's these situations, Joe, where that wickets column is the one that's the problem, isn't it? Because I suppose 54 from 22 ordinarily on its own,
yeah,
you'd say that's all right.
Yeah, and I think, you know, irrespective of kind of the result from here on in, I think the way that we've managed the last 4 or 5 overs, if we would have been a little bit smarter in the way we would have played, I think this, you know, we're looking at probably chasing 40, 45 off the last 4 overs with plenty of wickets in hand.
That's in the air for quite a while. It might just get there. It does. That's a terrific catch. And that's in stark contrast to how the Falcons have caught tonight. Drop 3. And they've taken the hardest one that's been offered this evening. And is that the wicket that seals the deal for them? Bravo has gone. From the Rapids' point of view, the main man is still there, Brett D'Oliveira. But he's not facing the bowling at the moment. Just cramping in for room a little bit there, Joe.
Yeah, he got
over the wicket, left arm, that angle.
Similar way to Dwayne. bounced out Lewis Deploy earlier. He's got a taste of his own medicine there, and unfortunately not enough bat on it to clear the rope, which he was obviously trying to do at this stage, given runs required of, you know, balls evaporating away.
McKinnon with 3 wickets and a brilliant catch. He's had a good night. 54 still needed, but it's that wickets in hand that's the issue. Just 2 left. Pat Brown's the new man, and he's pretty close to his first delivery, not that it carried. Looking for that little dab down to deep third. It's not a bad option if you can get it wide enough of the keeper but not too close to Watt, who's standing on the edge of the circle. That's a pretty narrow gap. You can see what he's trying. D'Oliveira sets off like he wants to, and he's going to get to. A few quicker runners between the wickets than Brett D'Oliveira. I mean, he must be the quickest. Is he the quickest?
Yeah, I think so. Pat actually, Ed Barn, Ben Cox, they're all
swift.
What should we call a band above myself?
In the next bracket.
Yeah, that's the one. I'd certainly be handicapped.
How much of a head start would you have? Half a pitch?
Oh, hang on, that's a bit hard. The first 2 yards are in your head as well. You've got to remember
very true,
that.
yeah. End of the over. 118. For 8. Just 2 wickets to go. Still 51 needed. 18 balls. It's looking tough now. D'Oliveira or no D'Oliveira?
Yeah, I think we need Pat to turn the strike over here to Brett and hope for something, well, quite remarkable.
Does just that with a single Pat Brown. Huge pressure on Brett D'Oliveira now, though. Well, the last few overs, really. Those consistent wickets ever since the partnership for the 4th wicket. That one's in the air as well, and taken. This time Brett D'Oliveira had to hit out, and he's lost his wicket for 55. And the Rapids 9 down. Disappointment for Brett D'Oliveira that he couldn't see the side home, but it was a big ask. Even for him, the rate just climbing those last few overs. It's a fine hand for his 55, though. Rather dejectedly raises his bat to acknowledge that.
Well, again, it's a decent catch, isn't it? And he picked him out nicely from the fielder's point of view, Hughes. But after dropping 3 relatively straightforward catches, the Falcons have held 2 good ones. And now they're on the verge of closing out what is looking to be a much more comfortable victory than it seemed they would do.
Yeah, fair play. I think the way that Derbyshire have managed this kind of the middle period with the ball, they've done outstandingly well. Hughes, McKinnon, Watt, you know, they've bowled exceptionally well, and unfortunately, you know, we've not dealt with it as well as we probably needed to have any kind of chance of winning the game.
What, 2 wickets for Watt this evening? 2 for 27 so far. Just 1 more wicket for the Falcons to tie up victory this evening. Just how disappointed will Worcestershire be, though, with, like you say, managing some of those overs and the way they've gone about the run chase?
I think so. As disappointing as last night was, sometimes you can, when you come up against world-class opposition on their day, it's sometimes you have to just you can admit quality, I guess. I think, unfortunately, this probably isn't an example of that. I think we've probably, maybe in hindsight it was 169 above par. It certainly didn't feel like it. But certainly the way we've managed this chase, obviously, I think it has been disappointing. Probably in a vein similar to the Leicester one a week or so ago, and ultimately I think that's why there's such a big gap. I think the gap probably isn't as big as the scoreboard probably suggests. If we would have managed, as I say, that 10 to 15 over period a lot better, I think this game was there to win. But unfortunately, haven't done that.
Just one wicket away now. 48 needed off these last 2 overs.
And the guys will know that very much so. This is certainly a format where, and this, if it sounds like excuses, it's certainly not meant to be. I'm trying to put some rationale on what's going on. You have to be wholly committed and confident to get. And I think you're probably seeing a side that isn't quite that at the moment. Has the skill set for sure, but when you lack confidence, you probably lack a little bit of commitment, and unfortunately, that's what's happening.
Because when you look at 2018 and 2019, okay, 2020 with COVID and all that sort of stuff, but you look at what's happened this year and last year. Can you understand some of the supporters who are trying to work out where perhaps it's gone wrong from those golden 2 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Might want to change my word when I say commitment. I probably mean conviction more than conviction and having the belief to do it. And when you're winning, situations, you're able to manage them from a kind of confidence point of view. The situation like today, and I would have had no doubt 2 or 3 years in that little purple patch would have been managed completely differently. When you're taking a beating in this format, the games come in such a condensed period of time that you don't probably have the opportunity to take a step back, to reassess, to realise probably that the world isn't ending, and to manage situations probably better. It's no lack of effort or any of that thing, which I know everyone knows that already. Everyone says that whenever you lose in sport. But fine margins in this format translate into big differences on the scoreboard. And stood up here, I was wholly confident. And it is sometimes probably difficult to explain. The kind of form, confidence, that kind of thing. It's fickle.
And momentum is a lovely thing to have when it's going with you. It's a really difficult thing to stop when it's going the other way as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it's my experience of kind of county cricket up to now is that it's probably never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it seems. 2018-19, if you actually look back at 2019, we squeaked into the quarter-final, and obviously got a ball away from winning that competition. I think 2018 was a lot more clinical as a performance, and we've had periods where we've steamrolled the group and then lost in knockout games. That, as I say, it's never as good as it probably seems, and never as bad. The fact that teams haven't managed to go back to back or really gain any kind of consistency in this format is evidence to the fact that momentum is really key. And if you come in and you're riding a wave, these games coming every 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, they're great. If you're not, it's really hard work.
say no one's dominated the competition in that sense, have they, with no back-to-back victory, and Worcestershire actually becoming closest to do that. Yeah. Like you say, then the momentum, like the Derbyshire won last night, Worcestershire had the heavy defeat last night, and then you come into this game, like you say, 24 hours later or less. You've got to be out there doing it all again, haven't you? Yeah,
and I mean, Mo last night his words were very honest. This is a group probably that would know that, the results aren't what we would want them to be. That's obvious. And I'm sure probably some of the frustration that there was towards the bowling group might be towards the batting group this evening, and that's unfortunately just the way it goes in this format. It's pointless anyone trying to blame anyone. Everyone's in it together, everyone's working hard for each other. As I said at the top, the guys are, they're not kind of moping around, they're desperately trying to get it right, and it's just not working out.
Do you think it'd be welcome relief to have a little break in the T20 now and go back to Championship?
Yeah, I'm sure. And it's going to take the senior guys in the dressing room to kind of drag the group kind of through this 4-day game at Durham. It's going to be a big game. It's very important complexion to the other part of our season, which is 4-day cricket. And yeah, it's up to the senior guys to kind of have the ability to compartmentalise what's happened this past 2 weeks. It's been a tough 2 or 3 weeks, there's no doubt. We can't shy away from that. But yeah, we've played some really good cricket in the 6 or 7 weeks preceding that, and we've got to try and refine that kind of form going into Sunday.
And you've got a game for the seconds as well as you come
back.
Yeah,
all being well. And yeah, I can't wait to get back out there again. And as great as it's been standing up here talking, it would have been nice to, it's certainly nicer being able to have more of an impact on things kind of on the right side of the boundary.
Indeed. Well, that's the end of the Rapids innings. 9 down, 129. And unfortunately defeat again for the Worcestershire Rapids this evening against the Derbyshire Falcons.
Yeah, 39 runs the margin tonight, so more disappointment and frustration for the Rapids. They bounced back really well with the ball after the carnage of last night at Wantage Road, but the batting just couldn't quite fire in the same way as the bowlers bounced back, and the chase never really got going. Brett D'Oliveira, the standout, 55 from him, his 10th T20 half century for the Rapids, and Jack Haynes on 35, the only two batters to get into double figures for the Rapids in a disappointing effort. Ultimately 129 for 9. We have to credit the way that the Falcons bowled as well, some outstanding figures in their bowling lineup. Kerr 4 overs, 2 for 24. Watt 4 overs, 2 for 28. Hughes 4 overs, 1 for 21, and the standout, the leg spinner McKiernan, 4 overs, 3 for 19. He also took a terrific catch as well. The 1 over only for Wayne Madsden, he took a wicket as well, 1 for 3. And the former Worcestershire boy, George Scrimshaw, bowled well early on, took a bit of tap in his third and final over, none for 32. So Worcestershire finishing 129 for 9, losing the game by 39 runs. So they will now move on to Durham in the County Championship and a switch of format before they return to T20 action away at Grace Road, as they used to call it, Upson Steel Ground now in Leicestershire. Next Friday night, and then they're back here on Saturday at New Road, or is it Thursday at Leicester? It is, isn't it? Thursday at Leicester, and then back here on Saturday for the game, the return game against Northamptonshire. Joe, great to see you. Thanks very much for your company.
Thank you.
And hopefully all the best for next week, and hopefully we'll see you in the Blast team before the end of the season.
Thank you very much.
So from me, Dan Wheeler,
And me, Sally Bentley-Reid.
it's a very good evening to you. Well, we'll speak to you again very soon.